Hello and welcome to this special CUTV High School Football Game of the Week schedule reveal show here for our 31st season of CUTV High School Football. I am Dillon Gaudet, and joined alongside me is Stephen Ruffing.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yep, I'm excited to do this as a first ever schedule reveal show for the 31st season. We had celebrated a big 30th season last year, so we're coming out this year with a bang here with the schedule reveal show for this season.
Yeah, the 31st season is as good as it is. It's like your 22nd birthday. It's going to be good, but last year was it was something special.
Yeah, and we just had to spice it up a little bit. Because it's the 22nd birthday, make it a little bit more special here with the schedule reveal show. So we're going to jump right into it here. A little different thing they started last season was Week 0. And our Week 0 matchup this year, August 25th, California High School at Brownsville.
This is going to be a good one. All bets are off because we saw a stunning California team last season. They were probably the most shocking team to watch because, you never knew what they were going to throw at you. And then Brownsville, they have a season. They need to bounce back 0-10. Our Gary Smith, they could only go up. There's no room for error for them.
Yeah, last season, California defeated Brownsville 41-0 there in that first game of the week last season. And Cal High School was actually on CUTV 2 times last season. They played Avella and ended up with a 35-0 win there. That was a game we saw a torrential downpour there. Yep. Definitely not the best weather for a football game. Had a little bit of weather issues there, but California, like you said, did make the WPIAL playoffs there, Class 1A playoffs. They lost in the first round there to Bishop Canevin, but they do have player coming back there and running back Cochise Ryan, who we remember in that CUTV game had a special run. It was actually the last play there in the open, his special little touchdown run he had.
It wasn't just that game either. Those runs were weekly. Maybe not as beautiful as that run was, but, that was like a week in, week out thing for him. So you expect a huge season from them. They're a little shaken up from that playoff loss because as good of a season that they had, I don't think they deserve to get knocked out in the first round. I think they were a total black horse going into the playoffs. So I think this is going to be a year to really prove themselves to the WPIAL.
Yeah, and back to Brownsville again. They had that 0-10 season last season. A lot of trouble with the roster moves and everything.
Yep.
But they're looking to rebuild this season. They have a couple guys that we saw twice last year, and running back and tied in there in Mason Kelly. He led the team in rushing yards and second in receiving yards. So he's going to be somebody to look out for there on the Brownsville Falcons.
Yeah, like I said, Brownsville, they are a team that can only go up, and I predict, I'm going to say, I'll give them 3 or 4 wins this season. 3 or 4 wins. I mean, that's my call for them because they're going to look back on this 0-10 season. They're not going to be happy with it, as they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be happy. So only going up for Brownsville.
Yeah, we're a fan of Brownsville and California. Those are the 2 closest high schools here, so we're always rooting for the 2 local teams. Cool. And now we're going to move on to Week 1, not Week 0 anymore. In Week 1 here, September 1st, we're going to have Monessen at Carmichael. Should be a great matchup.
Yeah, I think so. Monessen, kind of like a train wreck of a season, for a lack of better terms for that, because they were this team. They're such a big team, and just the past that they had, a fantastic football program over across the bridge in Monessen. But last season, they did not impress, to me at least. They didn't impress because they couldn't find a way to win.
Yeah, last season, Monessen was 1-9 and 1-6 in conference play. Again, this is a Tri-County South conference game, so our first conference game of the season here in Week 1. And their last time on CUTV was actually back in 2007. So nice for them to return here to action here on CUTV for our game of the week. And again, another player to watch for them is Vaughn Taylor. He was second in the team in rushing yards as a sophomore last season. So he's a junior leader for that team.
And just take this into perspective. Monessen was the team that beat Clairton to end their, 40-some game winning streak. So put that into perspective. This 1-9 team was the ones that ended the tyranny of Clairton.
Yeah, and that's a team with a lot of promise, a lot of tradition there. So they're going to look to build off that. And they'll be playing Carmichael's, which this game last season, Carmichael's actually defeated Monessen 20-12 in their game last season. Carmichael's finished with a 7-3 record, 7-0 there in Tri-County South play. and they ended up losing in the first round of the Class 1A playoffs there to Springdale, but they have a junior running back returning here, Joseph Miner, a team that was led by seniors. He was the third on the team in rushing yards and averaged 6.5 yards per carry.
You know, this Carmichael's team, they were a lot like the California Trojans. This team you didn't really expect much out of. You kind of went into their games not really sure what Carmichael's team you're going to get, and we got a 7-0 in the Tri-County South Carmichael's team, and I believe that they could do that. They have a pretty young team, you know, a couple guys coming back, so expect a good bit out of the Mighty Mikes this year. They're going to be a team that you want to watch. They're going to be an exciting team, and you know, we'll see how that game goes.
Yeah, it should be an exciting game. A team rebounding from a playoff loss and a team trying to rebuild their program. Should be an exciting matchup there. Now we're going to move on to Week 2, September 8th. We're going to have Southmoreland at Charleroi. Always love having games there at Charleroi.
Yeah, Charleroi, a fantastic stadium, and brand new. I had the chance to actually play soccer on it when it was kind of first rebuilt, and what a beautiful field that is for all sports, soccer, football, especially football. It's beautiful just looking over it. It is a great field, and this is going to be a special matchup.
Yeah, definitely. Charleroi won this game 41-14 last season. But looking at the Southmoreland Scotties team, the last time they played on CUTV was last season versus Waynesburg. So that should be an interesting matchup as well there, as they are coming off the season off a 1-8 season. So another team looking to rebound, 1-6 in conference play. So you know they're going to try to rebound off that. They're led by junior running back Ronnie Robinson, who rushed for almost 1,000 yards, just under 50 yards short of 1,000 yards last season as a sophomore. So it should be an exciting team to watch.
Yeah, Southmoreland, they're a team that we don't really know much about. You know, a lot of these teams we're covering year in, year out, every year. We get to learn these teams. We get to learn the kids on the team. Southmoreland is a team, you know, they're going to face off with Charleroi, and you can't help but to guess that Charleroi is the better team in this one, you know, just for the fact that you don't know what Southmoreland has coming off a 1-8 season. Who do they have coming back? What is the coach going to change from last year to this year to get a winning season out of the Scotties? So, you know, I'm going to pull for Charleroi in this one. Charleroi, 5-5, 500, 2-5 in the conference is what they really want to focus on. That conference play, you know, it's so crucial to a team's season. So we'll see how they bounce back in the conference for a pretty rocky season.
Yeah, definitely. They were CUTV's game. It was actually the PCN game last season.
Yep.
So I was live on PCN, so against Greenberg Central. So look for them. They're kind of a staple here, always on CUTV is Charleroi. So look forward to that matchup. Now we're going to move on to Week 3, but surprise here, we're not going to have a game Week 3. That is the game that Cal U is playing at Millersville. So us at CUTV, we're going to already be out in Eastern PA, staying there at Millersville.
By the time the game's playing that Friday, we're all probably going to be in a hot tub or something, you know, in the hotel, or getting the free breakfast. You know, who knows what we're going to be doing in that hotel.
Yeah, it should be exciting stuff. CUTV trips are always a blast.
Right.
But again, Week 3 will not have a game. Not too often we don't get to make it to a game, but next year, Week 3, September 16th, we will not have a game. Now we're moving on to Week 4, September 22nd. We're going to have McGuffey at Elizabeth Forward. A couple new teams there. Interstate Conference game. Last season, Elizabeth Forward won 42-14, so definitely could be an intriguing matchup there.
Yeah, McGuffey, you know, Again, 5-5 season, 3-4 in conference. Want to shake that conference play up a little bit. Want to get that a little better. Maybe take 2 more wins. Maybe go 5-2 in conference would be okay for McGuffey. That'd be good for McGuffey. Elizabeth Forward, I'd say a pretty disappointing season. This is a team. This is a big school. They can pick and choose from a lot. And to only finish 5-4, 4-3 conference play, I think they can do better. It's a good record within itself, but I really do think that Elizabeth Forward can do better.
And this McGuffey team has not played on CUTV since 2011, and that was at Bell Vernon. So this is a team looking forward to getting McGuffey back on our CUTV schedule here and seeing some more of the McGuffey Highlanders games.
Yeah, I completely agree. It'll be exciting to see McGuffey play. I think it's going to be probably so far out of the teams we've mentioned, this probably be, if you're taking the records from last year, this is going to be one of the closer games that we're going to cover.
It definitely evenly matched teams, and their two returning running backs had around the same amount of yards as well.
Yep.
So definitely an intriguing matchup. Now moving on to Week 5, it's September 29th. We're going to have Franklin Regional at Connellsville.
This is going to be a good one. Connellsville, they have a lot to prove. Not getting a win in the conference last year, only coming off a 1-9 record. So Connellsville, the last memory I have, Connellsville holds a special place. It's kind of a love-hate thing. That was my first ever CUTV shoot back when I was just a scared little freshman. And then this past year, I was fighting off a hive of bees before the game. I was spraying all over the place. I think I missed the whole setup for putting everything up, just fighting off these bees. Didn't get stung. No one was harmed. Can't say anything about bees getting harmed because there was a couple bees on the ground. But Connellsville, back to football. They have a lot to prove, I think. That's what I'm going to say about them.
Yeah, especially getting defeated by Franklin Regional 45-0 last season. Again, this is a conference game, so both these teams looking to get in here. First, we're going to take a look here at Franklin Regional. Can't figure out we tried to look through the tapes, can't find the last time Franklin Regional played on CUTV. So maybe if you're watching, comment there and let us know the last time they were on CUTV. But they're coming off a 7-3 record last season, 6-2 in conference play. So definitely one of the tougher teams there in that conference. They lost in the quarterfinals of the WPIAL playoffs to Woodland Hills 17-3. So again, another close game there with a tough Woodland Hills team.
Woodland Hills every year is a tough team. They didn't have their best season last year, but you're still playing a very traditional, historical Woodland Hills football team. So to get it that close, 17-3, that is a close game. That is a lot closer than a lot of people think.
Especially for high school football. Yes. Never really see defensive matchups, but 17-3 is definitely a grinded out kind of game.
Yeah, low scoring, a lot of defense, low points. So Franklin Regional, they could be a real threat in the playoffs.
Yeah, we take a look at this Connellsville team again. 1-9 last season. Their last time on CUTV was last year against Baldwin. Again, you said you had some problems there with the Bees, and then they were 0-8 in conference play. So they're looking the rebound there, and against a tough Franklin Regional team, that could be a good matchup for them.
Yeah, I think so. This could be a
chance for them to surprise someone.
Prove to me what you can do this season. This is going to be a Franklin Regional team, which a lot of eyes are going to be on them. That's a tough loss in the first round of the playoffs, but that's a good season. They had a good season, so a lot of eyes are going to be on them to do the same thing. And if Connellsville can come out, they're a big school. Connellsville is a big school. People don't get that. So if they could pick the right berries from the tree, they could. They could do some damage, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And again, should be a great matchup there. Now we're going to move on to Week 6 here, October 16th, first October game of the season here. We're going to have Trinity at Bell Vernon. And this matchup last season is a close matchup again. There is a Big 9 conference game. You have the Trinity Hillers. Their last time on CUTV was back in 2015 at Bell Vernon again. And that was Bell Vernon's first game on their nice, shiny gold turf. So we'll be able to see that gold turf again here. And they're, again, coming off a 3-5 season, 3-6 in conference play.
Yeah, and, again, these teams, it's a toss-up. It's going to be a toss-up. Bell Vernon, now this is a team that the eyes are going to be on them. They had a disappointing end of the season last year, which is tough. When you're in a conference with West Mifflin, Thomas Jefferson, and Ringgold, that's two tough 4 teams. Every year you see a TJ and then a West Mifflin. I always say West Mifflin is the little brother of TJ. TJ will always find its way on top in that conference, and then you're fighting for that third place spot between Ringgold and Bell Vernon. And last year, Bell Vernon, forget which one it was, Bell Vernon or Ringgold, didn't have a really great end of the season, but Bell Vernon, a lot to prove. So Trinity has a good chance to kind of make an upset. And
definitely, that Bell Vernon team was 7-3, 6-2 in conference play, like you were mentioning, and lost to West Mifflin, actually, there in the playoffs, in the quarterfinals there. And again, this is a team with, when I was looking at stats here, the majority of their stat production last year was from these seniors. So they're going to have to rebuild again, and that's a chance for Trinity to try to surprise some people against a team like you're mentioning, Bell Vernon, that has a lot of tradition themselves.
Right. I think if Trinity can come out and win this game, people are going to think it's an upset. People are going to be like, "Wow, this Bell Vernon team, they just got beat by a team that didn't break 500 last year." But in reality, it could be a rebuilding year for Bell Vernon. So there's a lot of things you want to look at this Bell Vernon Leopards team. So we'll see how it goes. Bell Vernon, a lot of eyes are going to be on you. No stress.
Yeah, exactly, especially there with a game on CUTV. Yep. Now moving on to Week 7, October 13th matchup here. We got Rochester at California. Another look here at California here in this season. Last year, Rochester won this game. Definitely a powerhouse here in the conference. 54-7.
Yeah, Rochester, a big season for them. 11-1, 8-0 in conference play. First time on CUTV. This is a big thing. This is a big thing for high school teams, but a team that we don't know much about. Rochester, first time on CUTV. A big season facing off a good California team.
Yeah, definitely. Again, lost in the semifinals there to Jeanette, but this is a team that's always there. They're the powerhouse here.
Evan Clareton in
for the Whippo, yeah, definitely. And they have a senior running back there, and Caleb Collins, who was second in the team in rushing last year with almost 800 yards. To be second on the team with 800 yards almost, that's very impressive there. And again, another look at California team. This is a chance they can have something to prove against a tough Rochester Rams team.
Yeah, you're going to have a big running game from Coach East Ryan and, of course, Caleb Collins. So it's going to be an exciting matchup. You have two high-flying teams that could do some damage to each other. So this is going to be a good one. I think this is going to be a very underrated matchup.
Yeah, it definitely could light up the scoreboard there for you fans of some offense there. Now we're going to move on to Week 8, October 20th. This is probably our marquee matchup here. We got Newcastle at Ringgold. Definitely last season, during the regular season, Ringgold won the regular season matchup 41-27. But then fell to Newcastle there in the semifinals of the WPIL Class 4A tournament. So look out for them to try to get some rebounding after that loss there in the playoffs.
Yeah, Newcastle, they are a team that produce talent. Malik Hooker, Newcastle alum. So they know how to produce good football players. So Newcastle and a good Ringgold team that had a pretty disappointing end of the season, them and Bell Vernon. This is going to be a great game. When I say high flying for California and Rochester, take that and times it by 10. This is going to be a fantastic game. All bets are off. You don't know what's going to be the outcome of this game.
Yeah, a lot of talent here. That Malik Hooker's brother, Marcus Hooker, is a 3-star recruit there for Newcastle. So look for him. He's getting recruited by WVU and Pitt. So we got two different fans here. We're both pulling. I'm trying to say come to WVU, but that should definitely be a great matchup there. They made it all the way to the championship game there in 4A for the Whippeal. Lost to Thomas Jefferson. Tough defeat there, 42-0. They're going to be carrying that this season to try to produce more. Again, that was a team that kind of surprised people. 8-5 in the regular season and able to make it all the way to the WPIL championships. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I agree. But TJ, usually the top dogs in Whippeal Quad A. It's tough. That's a tough loss for them. Good for them making it all the way to the finals. But this is a prove yourself game for Ringgold. It could either be the closest game on the schedule or a complete blowout from Newcastle.
Yeah, and Ringgold, we've seen them a couple times in the past there, but they're definitely a team with some receivers, a couple receivers over 800 yards when I was looking on stats returning to this team. So that's definitely a team that with a lot of talent as well. So they can compete with the talent level on Newcastle.
I agree. Ringgold's going to be a very mysterious team coming into the season.
Yep. Now we're going to move to our last game of the season here. Week 9, October 27th, we're going to have Washington High at Best Center. This is the last season's matchup. Washington High won 42-0, and again, this is a Century Conference game. Could be coming down to these two teams here in the conference.
Yeah, both teams, Washington, they are a fantastic football team. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Last season, 11-1, 7-0 in conference play, semifinals to Neshannock. That's going to be a loss they're going to remember. Neshannock, another great football team, but, we all know who won the Whippeals for Double A. That's all I'm saying. Steel Valley Ironman, Neshannock. Let me just tell you a little something about Neshannock.
Steel Valley alum here. Just throwing
If
that
you
out
couldn't
there.
tell, Neshannock, all local newspapers too, they had Neshannock winning it all, and then Steel Valley comes over. Mercy ruled every single team in the playoffs. So that's all I'm saying about Neshannock. Washington, they're going to remember that loss to Neshannock. Not taking anything away from Neshannock. They're another big, strong football team. But Washington, this is going to be a season for them to bounce back. Big time.
Definitely. And that was a team, looking at their stats again, that's a team with their top 3 rushers were seniors. So now they're going to rely on senior Nick Welsh to lead their team in rushing. He did have around 300 yards last season, so look for him to try to carry that team on the ground. And then you look at best center, they were 3-7 last year, 3-4 in conference play. Again, lost to Steel Valley there in the playoffs, 41-14. But again, they have a running back coming back with 1,100 yards last season, and he is only going to be a junior.
Yeah.
So look for him there in Dominic Fundy to produce a lot of rushing yards here in this game.
I was at that first playoff game. It wasn't Beth Center playing. It wasn't that team. Dominic Fundy, he got shut down fast, and I think that's where trouble struck. They weren't sure what to do. They didn't have many options. So a little tip for Washington, if they could shut down their running game, I think they have a very good chance to blow this one out of the park.
I did look at their passing, and they had only around 30 pass completions last year, did best center. So they're going to be a team that relies on the ground there. But again, that's the end of our schedule here. We're actually going to our first broadcast next season will be week 0 there, the biggest rivalry in Southwest PA, as we're going to call it here. The Rose Bowl on the Mon here there at Cal High versus Brownsville. But again, our high school football roundup coverage will return there after that game there. The following week, we'll have some high school roundup coverage. A little bit different. We're going to try to mix things up a little bit differently this season on high school roundup. I know I was talking to Gary Smith there with CUTV, and saying that we might have a little West Virginia high school special there for me at the end of the show.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Then again, with some of our people from Eastern PA there in Danny Beck and Colin Kirkwood, they might have some Eastern PA schools as well.
I think so. I don't know about that. I think majority rules, and sadly, majority of the people on the Whippeal football show are from Eastern PA, and I think that's kind of unfair. I feel kind of like attacked. I feel very uncomfortable on set. Now I'm with the West Virginia.
We might get a couple West Virginia highlights on there. Maybe you never know.
The final production might have to go through me if this is the case, because if I see any Eastern PA or West Virginia highlights trying to get snuck on to high school roundup, I think that's a no-go. I'm going to shut that down real quick.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. For Dillon Gaudet and Stephen Ruffing, we'll see you guys week 0, August 25th, for, again, the matchup there, rivalry game, California at Brownsville. Thank you guys for watching.